Good morning, Year 3. Today we're looking at how we can recognise and count in ninths this time. So we'll begin by looking at the in focus question and moving on to what a ninth is, how many ways we can make a whole, and finally it's your turn. So the in focus question. If we look carefully, we have a cube, and on the one face of the cube we have a certain number of squares. Now some are shaded in blue and the others are either not shaded in or shaded in purple, whichever way you want to look at it. So it says, what other fractions make 1? And by 1, we're looking at this as a fraction, so it needs 1 whole. Now at the side it says 4 ninths and 5 ninths make 1. Now, because we're looking at ninths as the whole this time, so by that, if we count the number of squares, we should have 9 squares. So that shows me that 9 is the number of pieces we are dealing with. So 9 is the whole because there are 9 pieces altogether. So if we had 4 ninths and 5 ninths, 4 and 5 make 9. So therefore, that's why it's saying it makes 1 whole, because 4 and 5 make 9. So we'd have 9 ninths, which is the same as 1 whole. So if we were to make other fractions using parts of the ninths, what could we use to make 1 whole? So pause the video, have a little go. Errors are great, so don't worry about making any mistakes. Fractions can be quite challenging. So have a little go and see what you get up to. Right, so one other way we could make a whole is by having 1 ninth shaded in and the other 8 ninths not shaded in. And if we was to add those together, it'd make 9 ninths again. It'd make 1 whole, because 1 add 8 makes 9. And because 9 is the number we are dealing with, 9 whole pieces, we need our numerator, when they're added together, to make that 9 again, which will make a whole. So we've got 1 ninth and 8 ninths, yeah. And another way, what does this represent? What fraction would that show you? 2 are shaded in out of the 9. So hopefully we should have 2 ninths. And if I wanted to make that a whole, what would I add to it to get me to 9 ninths? So what would I add to 2 to get me to 9? Well, I'd add 7. So 2 ninths add 7 ninths would make 9 ninths. So that's another one I could have had, and I would write it like that: 2 ninths and 7 ninths. And then finally, here we've got another one I could have used to make a whole. How many are shaded in? So we've got 3. And how many are there altogether? Well, there's 9, because that hasn't altered. So we've got 3 ninths. And how many are not shaded in or shaded in purple? There's 6. So 3 ninths and 6 ninths, because if you add 3 and 6 together, that gives you 9. So we've then got 9 ninths again. And that's how we'd write 3 ninths and 6 ninths. So those are the 2 fractions we could have used to make a whole: 3 ninths and 6 ninths. And then finally, it's your turn. So if you go to Google Classroom, have a look at those activities and questions. Again, do it in your red book. You've got lots of space to draw, but the best way to have a little practice as well, if you cut out some slips of paper, and then you can fold them in half, fold them in thirds. And when we talk about thirds, it means we've got 3 parts. So if you look at that yellow bar, there's 3 parts, and one of them is shaded in. So that means 1/3 is shaded in. And it's a really good way to learn by making them, seeing how many ways you can fold them, and all sorts before you actually have a go at writing down a fraction. So have a go at those, and remember to always begin by counting the total number of parts. So like we said with the yellow bar, we can see there are 3 parts all together and one of them is shaded in. Okay, so then if one of them shaded in, that makes 1/3. So how many are not? Have a go.